Hello, Miss L. This is Mike Weatherall, and this is my presentation on cancer cells. As you can see here, we have a normal cell. So, in order to talk about cancer cells, we need to talk about how they're made. So first, as you can see here in step 1, we have a normal cell, and inside the normal cell, there is a nucleus. Inside the nucleus, as we know, there is DNA. And so for a cancer cell to be created, the DNA has to have a abnormality. And if this DNA has this abnormality, then it will form a cancer cell. And a cancer cell, all it wants to do is number 5, multiply. And as you can see here, this is not okay. So, now let's get into some basic info on cancer. So as I said earlier, it's formed from abnormalities in DNA. As far as we know, from the kinds that we have observed, there are about 200 different kinds. And cancer causes the cells to not receive signals. And this is part of the reason why cancer continues to survive, because it does not receive the signal to stop working and to do apoptosis. It is only called cancer once it starts to divide and new cells form when not needed. So this is how tumors are formed. They never stop growing or multiplying. So now we got some more basic information. When a lump of cancer forms, it is called a tumor. As you can see here in the picture, there is a form of breast cancer there, highlighted in orange. The thing about cancer cells is that they do not repair themselves, and this is mainly because the p53 protein is faulty. The p53 protein would normally tell a cell that it is damaged, and it would either tell it to commit apoptosis or to try and repair itself. But because it's faulty, the cancer cell does not do this. So now, I wasn't sure if I was supposed to do this, but I did a quiz question. So quiz question 1. How many different kinds of known cancer are there? Count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to guess you got number 4, because that's the correct answer, because I know you're smart. And so now moving on to the real question, can cancer cells affect normal cells? To answer this question, it's yes and no. So obviously, in order for cancer to be created, there has to be one host cell, which was before that a normal cell. So technically speaking, yes, it can affect normal cells, but it does not infect other cells. A cancer cell would not go up to a normal cell and be like, hey, you want to join the cancer group? Yeah, that just doesn't happen. Another interesting thing about cancer cells is that they don't mature or specialize. And all they want to do is to grow and multiply, so they don't have the time to mature. So, yeah. Now we're going to talk about benign and malignant tumors. So we're going to start with benign. So benign tumors and normal cells. So benign tumors act very similar to normal cells, and the only real difference is that they're only dangerous if they grow too large to disrupt bodily functions, or if it secretes a substance such as like hormones. And as you can see here, there are 2 pictures of brain tumors. So malignant tumors, they express characteristics of infected cells. So metastasis is the spread of cells or the secondary growth. So the thing about malignant tumors is they typically don't stay in one spot, and they tend to move all around the body. And this is not good because it's really hard to track these things. Some ways that you can tell the difference between a malignant and a malignant tumor is by a high nucleus to cytoplasm ratio, a prominent nucleoli, many mitoses, or the splitting of cells, and little specialized structure. So they don't often, as I said earlier, they don't specialize, and they don't differ between each other very much, unlike normal cells. So here are some of my works cited. We have 4 of them. And now you thought it was over, but we actually have another quiz question. So what were the 2 kinds of tumors mentioned earlier? So you can see we have benign, cancerous, cautious, and malignant. And I'm going to give you a few seconds. I'm assuming you said number 1 and number 4, because we got the benign and malignant tumors. And so now this is the end of my presentation. We done now. This is a link to donate to cancer research. I thought that it would just be a nice thing to add in here at the end. And, if you got some extra cash laying around, might be a good idea. And thank you for listening to my presentation. This has been Micah Weatherall.